Conservative New Media viewers, J-Lin, fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss the Brooklyn Nets 109-101 defeat tonight of the Detroit Pistons in Brooklyn, New York City. Nets improved to 2-3 on the season. The Pistons dropped to 3-2 on the season. What a win. That was a great win. Brooklyn really needed this victory, and they particularly needed it after what happened against the Chicago Bulls the other night. That was just not the real Brooklyn Nets that we've seen so far this year, and the Nets proved it tonight in a real gritty, tough victory. And it got tougher for Brooklyn tonight because they lost JLin late in the second quarter of this game. Jeremy injured his hamstring, and he was not able to play in the second half at all. There is no update currently on Jeremy's hamstring. Coach Atkinson was asked about the injury after the game. He said that the doctors are still examining Jeremy and that they will know more about it tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see how bad the injury is. Hopefully Jeremy will be able to return relatively quickly. I saw the play in which it seemed like Jeremy injured the leg. He was driving on the right side of the court, and he just he ran into somebody, and his leg stiffened up. It didn't look that bad, but we're just going to have to see how much it swells up and that type of thing, and just to kind of get an idea of what level of severity the injury or pull is. Hopefully it'll just be a mild injury and he won't be out too long. Hamstrings are very tricky. They heal slowly, and they're very easy to re-injure. So sometimes even with mild hamstring strains, guys will take a decent amount of time off, like a couple of weeks. Hopefully that's not the case for Jeremy. Hopefully it's not a big deal and he can come back relatively quickly. We're just going to have to wait and find out what it's going to be the situation for him. Stats in the game quickly. Brook Lopez led Brooklyn 34 points and 11 rebounds. Brook hit 4 3-pointers in this game, which is the first time in his career that he's hit more than 1 3-pointer in a single contest. So Brook shot the ball well tonight. And if he can actually make 3-pointers, that would significantly help Brooklyn's offense. I mean, it would really help, and it would open things up for even more driving opportunities for other teammates like J-Lin. Sean Kilpatrick off the bench, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Look, Sean Kilpatrick is really having a good start to the season, and he's going to be an important part of this team. I was looking through lineup data yesterday, which is like, okay, when this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy are on the court at the same time, they do Brooklyn's really good or they're really bad. Sean Kilpatrick is a part of several very good lineups and productive lineups. So he is going to be critical for the team's success this year. Because as Mikkel said on Twitter, Sean Kilpatrick can shoot off the dribble. He can shoot standing still. He's a versatile player. He's athletic. He's quick. He's explosive. He's exactly the type of guy that Brooklyn needs. Joe Harris, 13 points. I'll talk more about him in a second. J-Lin himself, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Jeremy played 16 minutes, shot 4 of 6 from the field, including 0 of 1 from three-point range, 2 of 2 free throws, no steals, no block shots, 1 turnover. Jeremy's plus-minus was a +8. I'll talk more about Jeremy in a moment. Bojan Bogdanovic, 11 points. Now let's look at the Pistons. Marcus Morris, 23 points, 4 rebounds. Tobias Harris, 23 points, 4 rebounds. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, 15 points. Andre Drummond only scored 6 points in this game. Brook did a really good job guarding him. And I should also mention that Detroit played yesterday. They played New York yesterday, so they were a little bit worn down in this game. And Brooklyn was fresh. And look, we'll take whatever because Brooklyn needed this victory big time. Now, Brooklyn goes in the next game, and if they win that game, they're at 500 for the season. As I said, that would shock a lot of people who did not think the Nets were going to be able to be this good and this competitive with the roster that they have. Okay, so this is fantastic. What happened in the game, Brooklyn came out very strong, very good and effective early. They scored 38 points in the first quarter and 33 points in the second quarter. They went to halftime up 16 points, and they had scored 71 points in the first half. So their offense was clicking. They had a ton of energy, and they were just ready to play tonight. And remember, they were playing without Randy Foye and Gravis Vasquez. Vasquez missed tonight's game, as did Foye, so though they were missing 2 key guards in their rotation, but they really played hard tonight. They definitely wanted to make up for what happened in the Chicago game, and they did. Detroit coming into this game, I put it on Twitter, top 5 defense and top 5 rebounding. They're a good team, really good, better than I realized. I was talking about Detroit at the end of the last video, and then I went up and researched them, and they were even a better team than I realized that they were when I discussed them in the last video. So this is a great win, even with Detroit having played last night, particularly when you look at the injuries that Brooklyn was dealing with. So Brooklyn got the big lead in the first half. It got much closer in the second half. After Jeremy went out and kind of Detroit found their groove, they actually outscored Brooklyn in both the third and the fourth quarters, but Brooklyn had enough of a lead where they just held on at the very end of this game. The lead got down to about 5 points, and then Trevor Booker made a couple of huge plays, as did Sean Kilpatrick, to seal the win. Booker got like a key rebound, an offensive rebound, then he got a blocked shot, then he got a defensive rebound, I think he got another offensive rebound. And Sean Kilpatrick had a big basket, and Brook Lopez a couple free throws late, and they just were able to hold on to this game. And they were fired up. The crowd was fired up. It was great. It was nothing like what happened against Chicago. And it's just an important victory for this team. They are, people have been dismayed about different things, and Rondé Hollis Jefferson, they talked about him during the broadcast on Yes Network, and they were talking about how he knows he's struggling on offense. Rondé played 22 minutes tonight, but what's going to happen now? And what I was talking about with the lineup data, now that there's been a few games, the Nets coaching staff, they can look at the data too. They can start saying, you know what, maybe let's play Rondé a little bit less and let's play Sean Kilpatrick a little bit more. So remember, you have a rookie coach with a bunch of new players and a new offensive system, and nobody knew anything going into the season. I mean, they had an idea, they had a concept, but you can't adjust that until you actually play. Now that we've played a few games, now they can start adjusting it. Like now they can see, wow, Sean Kilpatrick is really important. Maybe we need to play him a little bit more, and so forth. They can look at that lineup data and they can start making adjustments off of it. And as I said earlier, if Brook Lopez hits 3-pointers like he did tonight, that's going to make everything different, make things much, much easier. So it's good so far, but it's probably going to get even better. What the team needs right now, as much as anything, is they need to be healthy. Now they have to get Jeremy healthy. They need to get Randy Foye healthy. and they need to get Gravis Vasquez healthy again. That will help tremendously. But the team was resilient tonight. They were focused. They were confident. I love the way that Joe Harris played in this game. And I also mentioned this on Twitter. Joe Harris was super aggressive in shooting around the basket. Usually Joe Harris only takes shots from the perimeter. But tonight he drove to the basket. He got like a layup kind of as he was on the move. He took the ball to the basket. And he can do that. I mean, Joe's built pretty well. He's got a pretty strong build. And it's like this was definitely the most aggressive I've probably ever seen Joe Harris play in the NBA. And I actually saw him play several times last year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. If Joe plays like this and he can score 10 points and be aggressive, that's an enormous help to this team. And it was a big help tonight as he was the third leading scorer for the team tonight. So that is terrific. And like I said, they're starting to figure it out. They're seeing what works, what doesn't work. And then you can make adjustments. Isaiah Whitehead, he had his struggles tonight, but he's basically was forced in the second half to be the first string point guard, and he's a rookie. And rookies are going to make mistakes. Detroit was double teaming him and harassing him to try to force him into mistakes, and he did struggle with that some. But then down the stretch of this game, Sean Kilpatrick was playing the point guard. And what they showed late in this game, and they talked about on Yes Network, was they showed that Jeremy, who he left and he went back to get his leg evaluated, and then he came back onto the bench with, I don't know, maybe in the fourth quarter. But they showed late in the game, Jeremy was talking to Sean Kilpatrick and giving him advice, like, hey, do this, do that. And they showed him talking like by the sideline. So when they showed that, the announcer for the Nets, Ian Eagle, said, JLin is developing into a serious leader for the team. And he really is. And it's just Jeremy's so good at that role. It's the role that he wants to play. And now he's being able to do it. And certainly Coach Atkinson wants him and lets him do it. And now he can do it. And it's working. And I'm not saying JLin was the key to Sean Kilpatrick playing well down the stretch, but every little thing helps. And I'll also mention this right now. If you haven't seen it, there's a really good video interview done by Slam Magazine, SLAM, with Jeremy. It's a video. It's about, 4 minutes. And I put it out on Twitter the other day, a link to the video. One of the things that Jeremy says in the video is that he sees himself as somebody that wants to be kind of out front, like a starter rather than somebody in the background or a bench player. This is who Jeremy is. And he can lead a team, and he is a good leader as well as a good player. Like I said, we saw it tonight. And Trevor Booker was interviewed right after the game by Sarah Kustok on Yes Network, and she asked him, hey, was it tough losing Jeremy in the game? And then Trevor said, yeah, he's our leader, so it was tough. So it's just great to see it all coming together. Jeremy's playing the role that he wants to play. He's doing a great job of that. It's the role that he could have played in other places, but they wouldn't let him play it. They wouldn't let him be the leader in Houston. They wouldn't let him be the leader in Los Angeles. Now he gets to be the leader, and he's good with it, and it's starting to show. The team is getting stronger. They're getting more unified. They look disunified when they played the Bulls, and they remarked on it then. It's like when they get a little bit more collective resistance. Well, tonight you saw the collective resistance. They were upset that they lost to Chicago, and they were upset with how they lost to Chicago. And tonight you saw a more galvanized team. So you can learn from these things. You can learn from the hard times. You can learn from the big losses. And that's what the Nets did. Some teams don't learn from it, or they learn the wrong thing. But this team is learning the right thing. That's why they're 2-3 now and have a chance in their next contest to be able to get to 500. Look, when this team's fully healthy and they figure out their rotations and they figure out who plays well with whom, because remember, this is a whole new process, they're pretty good. I mean, this team can compete with, I'm not going to say they're going to compete at the top level of the league, but they can compete. They can compete. And it's even better than I thought it was. Because again, looking at some of those lineups, the data, and just thinking about some of the players, if these guys play hard and they play kind of at their maximum level, they're pretty good. It's like I said, I mean, that seems like it's surprising. Even I didn't think they were going to be that good. But I thought they'd be better than what most people thought. But they're even better than that. This team could conceivably, honestly, and it's the first time I've thought this the entire year, this team, under the right circumstances, could try to compete for a playoff spot. If they're healthy and if things come together for them. And nobody thought that. This team, they have odds that come out before the season begins, like Vegas or whatever will make odds, and they'll put an over and under on how many wins they think each team is going to get in the NBA, and you can bet on that. The Nets were predicted the worst team in the league, and they were predicted to their over and under number for wins was 20.5. Which means basically they think they're going to win around 20 or 21 games the entire season. If they win 20 games, that means they lose 62. If they win 21, they lose 61. They're much better than that. I mean, we have to see what the record is and everything, but I just hope they can get healthy and stay healthy, because something really good and special is happening with this team, and it's coming together. You know what it reminds me of? If you watch American football and you know the history of it somewhat, the Oakland Raiders in like the 1970s, they would take guys from other teams that the teams didn't want anymore, or the guys had attitude issues or whatever, and they take all these little cast-offs and weird guys, and they made a really good team, and a team that was at the top of the league or near it. That reminds me of what's happening here, or what could happen. So this is very good. This was a huge win. I just can't overstate it. They're back on track now, and it could have been completely derailed and just like derailed for the whole season. But they got this victory tonight, and now it's like they're staying on track to being a competitive, good, real team that could possibly chase a playoff spot. And it's pretty exciting. It's actually really exciting. It's really, you have to be proud of the guys and the coach for getting this done. So what we're going to hope for now is that we hope Jeremy's not hurt for long. We hope Gravis and Randy Foye can come back soon, and that they can kind of get their reinforcements and get to their best selves as quickly as they can. Okay? That's pretty much all I'm going to say about the game. Look, Jeremy played great while he was in the game tonight. He looked good. He was shooting the ball well. His ball handling looked excellent. We've talked about ball handling and work on it. He had a move in this game where he was on the right side of the court. He was dribbling with his left hand, and he did a behind the back move. I think it was left to right, and he just lost his man and got to the rim for an easy basket. And that's a pretty high level ball handling move to be able to do. And it shows you that, like I said, Jeremy's going to work on it. And sometimes ball handling, it's your mentality. If you're worried about your dribbling, if you're concerned that the guy's going to steal the ball from you, your ball handling will be weak. because you think it's weak. Sometimes if you're confident and you're feeling strong about it, then it's better. Basketball is significantly a mental sport because confidence has a lot to do with how you perform. It's almost like hitting in baseball. There's a lot of mental that goes into it. And I'm not saying Jeremy's weak, mentally weak or any of that. No, it's just ball handling's been a thing for him. But tonight he was on point. He wasn't worried about people stripping from him. He only had one turnover in the time he was in, and that turnover was bogus. They called him for a travel, but on the move that he was called on a travel for, he actually dribbled, but the referee didn't see it. And the announcers picked it up. They're like, yeah, I think the referee might not have had a good angle to see that Jeremy actually dribbled there. So they thought he took an extra step without a dribble, but he didn't. But that was it. That was the only turnover of the night. He had great passing. And Detroit was missing their starting point guard, Reggie Jackson. And so the guy that was playing for him was Ish Smith. Ish isn't big enough to guard Jeremy. And Jeremy was just going and getting around him pretty easily. So it was a good night for Jeremy until he hurt his leg. But Jeremy's pretty durable. He's had injury issues in the past. Like, obviously, he had the knee in New York, but that was a one-time thing. He's had some recurrent back issues, but he's been very durable the last several years. Hopefully, he'll be able to heal up quickly from this and come back in action and not miss a beat. All right, let's talk about the next game, and that game will take place 2 days from now on Friday, November 4th. It will be against Jeremy's last team, the Charlotte Hornets. It will take place in Brooklyn, New York. I know somebody who has tickets to this game. I was talking to them on Twitter. Hopefully they'll be able to go, and hopefully Jeremy will be able to play, although my guess is Jeremy will sit out this next game. We'll see. The game will take place at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and it will be carried on Yes Network, and you can also watch it on League Pass as long as you don't live in New York City or in Charlotte, North Carolina, or too close to one of those two cities where they carry the games on the local cable service. So, look, a terrific win, a gritty win, certainly something that the team can build from. The Chicago game is totally erased, and I will say this about Chicago. They lost tonight, but they look much better than what people thought they were going to be. So, in other words, that loss to Chicago isn't looking as bad now. It's like, wow, Chicago's pretty darn good this year, and we didn't see that coming. Nobody really thought they were going to be at the level that they're playing at right now. So, sometimes you'll lose to a good team, and that's kind of what happened to Brooklyn. Charlotte is good. I don't remember their record. I have to go over their stats. I know them. I know them from last year, obviously, when we covered them with Jeremy. They're good, but they're beatable. Now, it's going to be a lot harder to beat them if Jeremy misses the game, particularly if Jeremy and Randy Foye and Gravis Vasquez miss the game. It's going to make it much more difficult. But hopefully, at least one of those guys, or maybe two of them, will be able to play. And if you get that win, you're 3-3. You're right there. You're right at 500. It's like being 0-0. You're in good shape, and you're surprising everybody around the league. So we will talk to you then. We anticipate watching that game, even if Jeremy doesn't play. So we will see you in less than 48 hours as the Brooklyn Nets take on the Charlotte Hornets. And I'm going to be looking for news tomorrow on Jeremy's leg. I don't know if I'll make a video about it, but I'll definitely put something on Twitter about it. Hopefully it'll be a grade 1 strain, which is the mildest form of a strain you can get. And if it's like that, it'll probably heal within a week or less than that. I was actually talking with somebody who's a sports doctor on Twitter tonight, and he's saying, yeah, maybe he sits out the next game, and then they have a couple of days rest before the following game, and conceivably he could be back by then. The game after Friday is on Tuesday, So hopefully that's what will happen. Hopefully he can play the next game, but if not, hopefully he'll be ready for the following game. Okay, take care. Hope you're having a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. We will be talking to you again soon in under 48 hours. And once again, this is PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 JLin YouTube fan channel. This is an excellent night. Celebrate this win, and let's move on to Friday. Hopefully we can defeat the Charlotte